The Dodgers received shocking news that has left the entire baseball community in a state of outrage and disbelief. During the final inning of yesterday's intense game against the Seattle Mariners, a Mariners player committed a flagrant act of unsportsmanlike conduct that directly targeted Shohei Ohtani. The incident occurred in the ninth inning when tensions were already running high, and what happened next shocked players, fans, and officials throughout the stadium. According to multiple eyewitnesses, the Mariners' second baseman deliberately took a dirty shot at Ohtani during a crucial moment in the game. This act of aggression was completely unprovoked and appeared to be motivated by personal animosity or frustration rather than legitimate baseball play. However, the umpire crew acted swiftly and decisively in response to the incident. The home plate umpire immediately ejected the Mariners' second baseman from the game for his unsportsmanlike conduct, a decision that was met with cheers from the Dodgers dugout and loud applause from Dodgers fans throughout the stadium. The incident has sparked widespread outrage throughout baseball, with players, coaches, and analysts expressing shock and disgust at the Mariners' players' behavior. How could a professional player resort to such dirty tactics in a Major League Baseball game? What motivated the second baseman to take such aggressive action against Ohtani? And will MLB take additional disciplinary action beyond the on-field ejection? The game had been intensely competitive from the opening pitch yesterday afternoon. The Dodgers and Mariners were locked in a close contest, with playoff implications looming over every pitch and every at-bat. Both teams had been playing with high intensity, and the tension had been building steadily as the game progressed through the early and middle innings. By the time the ninth inning arrived, the Dodgers held a narrow one-run lead, and the Mariners were making a desperate attempt to mount a comeback. With runners on base and 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, the Mariners had an opportunity to tie or potentially take the lead with a big hit. Shohei Ohtani was playing his usual position as the Dodgers' designated hitter but had also been serving defensive duties in the outfield during critical moments of the game. According to the game situation, Ohtani was positioned in left field as the Mariners prepared for what could potentially be the final at-bat of the game. The Mariners' batter stepped up to the plate with the bases partially loaded and 2 outs. On a 2-2 count, the Dodgers pitcher delivered a pitch that the batter made solid contact with. The ball was hit sharply into left field in Ohtani's direction. The Japanese superstar immediately began running toward the ball, positioning himself to make the catch that could potentially end the game. As Ohtani moved into position to field the baseball, the Mariners' second baseman, who had been on base, began running hard toward home plate, attempting to score if the batter managed to get a hit. The second baseman was aware that if Ohtani made the catch, he would likely be doubled off base, ending the inning and the game. According to multiple eyewitnesses positioned throughout the stadium, as Ohtani focused on catching the fly ball, the Mariners' second baseman deliberately veered out of his running lane and took a hard shot at the Japanese superstar. The second baseman's body collided forcefully with Ohtani in what appeared to be a completely unprovoked act of aggression. The collision occurred just as Ohtani was about to catch the baseball. The impact of the second baseman's body threw Ohtani off balance and caused him to drop the catch. The ball fell to the ground, and the batter reached base safely. However, the real controversy was about the nature and intent of the collision. Witnesses reported that the second baseman had deliberately sought out contact with Ohtani rather than attempting to avoid him or to run in a legal path. The second baseman's body position and angle of approach suggested that his primary objective was to physically assault Ohtani rather than to attempt to advance toward home plate. The force of the collision was significant enough that Ohtani fell to the ground after impact. The crowd at Dodger Stadium erupted in outrage. Fans who had witnessed the collision immediately began booing and shouting in protest. Players from both benches sensed that something serious had occurred and began moving toward the location of the incident. Freddie Freeman was one of the first Dodgers players to react. Freeman rushed out of the dugout toward where Ohtani had fallen, clearly concerned about his teammates' well-being. Other Dodgers players followed closely behind, forming a protective group around Ohtani as he attempted to recover from the collision. Manager Dave Roberts emerged from the dugout with an expression of fury on his face. Roberts immediately confronted the home plate umpire, demanding an explanation for why the second baseman's obviously dirty play had not been immediately addressed. Roberts' voice was loud and his gestures were emphatic as he expressed his outrage at what had transpired. The home plate umpire, who had observed the incident clearly from his position behind the plate, did not hesitate to take action. The umpire immediately made the signal to eject the Mariners' second baseman from the game. The umpire approached the second baseman and pointed emphatically toward the dugout, making the ejection official. According to reports from witnesses who could hear the umpire's communication, the official told the second baseman that his conduct was completely unacceptable and that he was being ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct and an illegal interference with an opposing player. The umpire made it clear that such behavior had no place in professional baseball and that the ejection was immediate and without appeal. The Mariners' dugout erupted in protest at the ejection. The Mariners' manager rushed out to confront the umpire, arguing that the collision was incidental to the play and that the second baseman had not deliberately targeted Ohtani. However, the umpire would not reconsider the decision, maintaining that the ejection stood and that the second baseman must immediately leave the field. As the second baseman made his way toward the clubhouse, Dodgers fans booed loudly and chanted their disapproval of his conduct. The second baseman appeared angry and frustrated but ultimately complied with the ejection order and left the field. After the second baseman had been removed from the game, attention immediately turned to Ohtani's condition. Medical personnel from the Dodgers training staff rushed onto the field to evaluate the Japanese superstar for injuries. Ohtani was examined for several minutes as concerned teammates and coaches looked on. According to the medical evaluation, Ohtani had sustained some minor bruising and impact soreness from the collision but did not appear to have suffered any serious injuries. However, the Dodgers medical team decided that out of an abundance of caution, Ohtani should be removed from the game and placed on observation to ensure that no underlying injuries developed following the collision. Shohei Ohtani was helped to his feet by medical personnel and trainers. As he walked off the field, the crowd at Dodger Stadium gave him a standing ovation, expressing their support and sympathy for what he had endured. Ohtani acknowledged the crowd with a nod and a wave, despite the obvious discomfort from the collision. Freddie Freeman replaced Ohtani in left field for the remainder of the game. Freeman appeared visibly angry and frustrated as he took his position, clearly upset about what had happened to his teammate. According to witnesses, Freeman made direct eye contact with the Mariners' dugout several times, conveying his disapproval of their players' conduct. The game continued after order was restored, and the Dodgers ultimately held on to their lead to secure the victory. However, the focus of post-game discussions immediately centered on the dirty play incident rather than the game's final result. Manager Dave Roberts addressed the media after the game with obvious frustration and concern. Roberts stated that he had never seen such a blatant act of dirty play in his career and that the second baseman's conduct was completely unacceptable. Roberts praised the umpire crew for their swift action in ejecting the player and maintaining control of the game. "What we witnessed out there was dirty baseball at its worst," Roberts said during his post-game press conference. That second baseman deliberately targeted Shohei with clear intent to injure or intimidate. The umpire crew made the right call by ejecting him immediately. I have complete confidence that MLB will take additional action to address this behavior. Shohei Ohtani addressed the media briefly despite the soreness from the collision. The Japanese superstar stated that while he was disappointed by the incident, he appreciated the umpire's swift action and the support from his teammates and fans. Ohtani emphasized that he would not allow one dirty play to diminish his focus or commitment to helping the Dodgers win. "I understand that baseball is an intense and competitive game," Ohtani said through an interpreter. "However, what happened today went beyond competitive play. I am grateful that the umpire protected the integrity of the game by ejecting the player. I will be fine, and I look forward to continuing to help my team." Freddie Freeman was asked about the incident during his post-game interview. Freeman expressed strong disapproval of the second baseman's conduct and stated that the Dodgers organization would not tolerate such behavior directed at any of their players. Freeman added that he had confidence in MLB's disciplinary process and expected that additional consequences would be imposed on the Mariners player. "That was dirty, plain and simple," Freeman stated bluntly. "Shohei was focused on catching the ball, and that guy deliberately came after him. The umpire got it right by ejecting him. I hope MLB suspends him from multiple games as a message that this kind of play is not acceptable in professional baseball. Major League Baseball has announced that it will review video footage of the incident as part of its standard post-game review process. MLB officials are expected to determine whether additional disciplinary action, such as fines or suspension, will be imposed on the Mariners' second baseman for his unsportsmanlike conduct. The incident has sparked broader discussions within baseball about player safety, the need for stricter enforcement of conduct standards, and the responsibility of organizations to control the behavior of their players. Several player representatives have called for MLB to implement more severe penalties for dirty play to discourage such behavior in the future. The Mariners organization has stated that they will conduct an internal review of the incident and will address the matter with the player directly. The Mariners have expressed regret about the incident and have stated their commitment to maintaining professional standards and sportsmanship. Thank you for watching. This shocking incident has highlighted the importance of umpire vigilance and swift action in protecting players and maintaining the integrity of the game. Please share your thoughts in the comments section about the Mariners player's dirty shot at Ohtani. Do you believe the umpire made the right call by ejecting the second baseman? What additional punishment do you think MLB should impose? Subscribe to our channel for more interesting and up-to-date information about Shohei Ohtani and all the latest developments in Major League Baseball.